Welcome to Selfish Confidence, a place where we can connect and be real about how hard it is to be your damn self. My name is Jess, and my goal is to help you build confidence and belief in yourself to live any life path you want, even if it's unconventional. It's time to flip off societal pressures and connect with women who've also felt on the outside by their life choices. We're here to encourage you to grab the mic and speak your truth. I know it can be scary, but we're in this together. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Selfish Confidence Podcast. It's Jess here, and I've made myself a cup of tea, and I'm sitting down in my beautiful comfy pick chair, ready to share with you some personal stuff, which I do not love to do. I'm telling you straight up, I don't love to do it, but there's something on my heart today when it comes to reflecting on the last year and what's coming up next year, and I'm going to do it. I got my comfort tea. I'm ready to go. Let's dive into it. And I think even if you were to look and listen to this and just be like, Jess, it's not that personal. It's not that big of a deal. Here's the thing. It's a really big deal for me. And remember that too in other scenarios, in other places where it might not be a big deal for you, right? Like me standing on a stage and speaking, not that big of a deal for me. For someone else, either listening to this or just even watching some of these things, yeah, they're like, that is a freaking big deal. I could never do it. And maybe that goes for brain surgery or even just like nurses in general, anyone in healthcare. That's a big deal for me. You do not want to see, no, I can't. I can't even think about it without getting queasy. And so that's huge for me. And for you, it might be your everyday. And that's just like a regular occurrence, right? So this is just your friendly reminder that sometimes things can be hard for different people, even if they come really easy for us. So have some empathy for those around you who are facing hard things, or even like things that you think are really easy. Remember that we all face things differently. Anyways, that's a long tangent for me to get into some really juicy and fun stuff. I just celebrated my 33rd birthday, the big 3-3, and I don't often reflect as much as I feel like I should. I think it's so important for us to look at all areas of our life and see the learning lessons, but also soak up moments even without there being a lesson. I was actually thinking about that today as I was getting ready to sit down and record. I was like, you know what? If there's not a learning lesson, does it really belong on the podcast? And you know what? It does. Now I do have some learning lessons in here. I have like 5 learning lessons that I wanted to share with you today from my 32nd year of life. But also, even if I learned nothing, it would still be a great year and I would still have something to share. I am the type of person who likes to check the box and move on. Like just like get it done, check the box as fast as I can, and then pick the next goal and start going. So even when I was thinking this week of like, what am I going to talk about when it comes to my birthday? I had no idea. Like couldn't even remember what last year was and what happened in the year because I'm such the type of person to move on as fast as possible. And I know that's not the greatest way to go about things that we're going through in our life, but it's like get it done, check the box and move on. And like now looking back, I'm realizing there was a lot that happened in the last year. And oftentimes I just let it like slide out the window. It's like I can just like sweep it under the rug. I don't have to worry about it. I can open the window and let it fly out. But I really wanted to sit in it today. And I struggle with my age, not for what most people struggle with their age for, but I struggle with my age even this weekend at the retreat. The girls brought out a birthday cake for me. It was absolutely the sweetest thing. But I was so uncomfortable sharing about my birthday because I often think for the work that I'm doing that I should be older. Right? That I should have more things under my belt, that maybe people would take me more seriously if I was a different age. So saying that I'm only 33 and living the life that I'm living and teaching in the way that I'm teaching puts a lot of pressure on me sometimes. I am the one putting the pressure on me. It's no one else. No one has ever said that to me. It's all internal, and maybe you can totally relate to that, to the things that you've been saying to yourself. But I often will be like, oh, like I can't share how old I am because I'm not old enough to be doing this work. I'm not old enough to have the experience that I have. And I can sit here and be like, I know that's not true. I do. I really do. But it's still really hard. And there's probably areas in your life that you can think of something too that you've been putting yourself down on. And we can know logically that it's crazy, right? Like that is totally irrational. I know that's not true, but it's still how I feel. And if there's something in your life that you're facing that with, know that you can lean on me anytime because I very much understand it. And actually, I bet a lot of people in your life would understand it. And even just in saying that, that brings me into so many of the life lessons that I was taught. And I will just start with the first one is knowing your community, finding your people. And it doesn't have to be blood relations. It could be friendships. It could be online community. It could be social media influencers that you just love and connect with. There are people out there that are your people, and really leaning into them in all times and in all areas of your life. Even just yesterday, I was having a moment and I didn't know who to reach out to. And it's not that I don't have people, because I have a lot of people. I have a wonderful family. I have great friends. But in that moment, I needed someone very specific. And I also needed to not be like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about that, Jess. That's not a big deal. I needed someone who was really going to give me that tangible piece that I needed in that time. And I knew exactly who to reach out to. And I was hesitant because I don't always like to be open about the hard things. But it was exactly what I needed. And it was the exact person that I needed to talk to about it. And maybe you know like who you would send that message to right now. But I have people for a lot of different things, right? It depends on what it is and who I'm leaning on. If it's a business thing, if it's an emotional thing, a feeling thing, if it's just comfort and love, there are so many different things. And it's so important for you to have a strong community around you that can help you in those moments. And maybe you're listening to this and you're just like, I don't have that. Then the best thing you can do for yourself this year is find that. So I know who I can reach out to if I just want to vent about something. I know who I can reach out to if I want a cheerleader. I know who I want to reach out to if it's a business question. I have a strong community around me, and that really only happened in the last couple of years. I have always had great friendships and great family, but sometimes you need a little bit more, especially when it comes to business, and building those people and honestly building a community that I created of incredible women has been really helpful in that too. So the sisterhood has been huge for myself because I'm starting to build this squad that I had always dreamed of wanting in a community, and seeing that this weekend too through the retreat, the people who were there and the people who I got to spoil and love on in a way that I have always wanted was really, really fun too. So find the people that you can be that support person for, but also that you know who you can go to when you need it. And don't feel guilty about it. Think how special you feel in those moments when you really get to support someone else. When someone comes to you and they say to you like, oh, I never tell anyone this stuff, or I really need to vent for a second. And you're just like, yeah, girl, I got my coffee. I'm ready to go. Like, give it to me. I don't know about you, but I love when people do that to me. And other people want to do that for you too. Remember that. You are not a burden. You are not annoying. You are a gift. And we all have feelings. We all have emotions. We all have hard days. And knowing that there's someone that you can call, a support, a community, anything that you can lean on, use them because they want to be there for you too. Just like you want to be there for them when they need it. That's actually a big one for me this year. Also not only being the person for other people, but leaning on others when I need it too, and reaching out when I need it too, and not feeling bad about it. Because for a long time, I'd just be the person who would do it all alone, but you can't do it alone. You cannot do this life alone. And even if you're a person who could be surrounded in a room of people, if you do not share your truth, you don't share who you are, you don't share what you love, you don't share anything about you, you just absorb and you're there for other people, that's not helping you either. So remember that. Community is so important, and it's so important that you contribute to it too. Not just in the way of always being there for others, but let others be there for you. The next learning lesson that I have on my list here is stop putting yourself down. Stop putting yourself down. You are the only person. I shouldn't say that. I don't know your truth right now. But most of the time, my worst enemy is myself. It's me. I'm the one in my head getting all caught up in there, telling myself that I'm not doing enough, that I'm not good enough, that You should do this, you should do that. I'm not immune to those words either. It's really, really hard to sometimes be in your head. And one of the biggest things I learned last year was that that's not helping. That's not helping my community. That's not helping my clients. That's not helping myself. By being really mean to myself, it's actually doing the opposite. It's repelling the people who I really want to work with. It's attracting probably the people who I don't want to work with, right? It's putting myself in a negative headspace on the daily. When you look in the mirror and you only say negative things, like that is not a good thing. And especially if anyone's in that healing and coaching space, and even as a parent or as a friend, right? That person that you would want to call, you would want them to be saying really great things to themselves too, right? It's the same thing. For some reason, we can easily tell our girlfriends like, girl, fire, you look so freaking good. But when we look in the mirror and we say the opposite things to ourselves, right? You've put on weight. You look tired. Oh, girl, you look tired. That one I often say, right? And those little things really make a big impact on your day. They really make a big impact on your business. They make a big impact on the friendships and the relationships you have. And if you're saying those things to yourself in front of your community and in front of those people who you would want to lean on and want them to lean on you, it's almost like you're giving them a permission slip to be mean to themselves, right? How you show up for yourself, how you love on yourself is a direct reflection of how you can support and love on those around you. So just a heads up, if that makes it easier for you to be a little kinder to yourself, but that was a big one, was to stop crapping on myself over every little thing and really focus on the good things. And it's an uphill battle all the time. I did it just yesterday when I reached out to a friend. I had been really crapping on myself and I really had to shake it off. So know that I'm not immune to it. This one's a really hard one for me and actually a big learning lesson from last year because I did it a lot, right? It was easy for me to be harder on myself, especially in this growth phase, than it is to be kind and to see myself in this new light because third lesson, you are worthy. I really struggled with that worthiness last year as things kept growing and growing and growing and people wanted to work with me. It was really uncomfortable. And even still now, like I'm like, what? Really? Okay, let's do this then. But imagine if I walked into every conversation, not like arrogantly, but confidently walking into every conversation, just being like, yeah, I know my stuff. I know how to help you feel more confident because I did it too. I'm putting in the work too. I'm being kinder to myself too. We're in this 100% together. We're figuring it out as we go. I bet if you met, not to go back to healthcare, but let's go there for a minute. If you met your surgeon, like let's say it's a heart surgeon, it's a very serious business, and they came in there and they were just like, oh, well, I really suck. And, I don't, even now thinking about this scenario, I'm like, that's so crazy. But like, oh, I really suck. And, well, I messed up this thing the other day and I didn't really get enough sleep last night. You would not want them touching your heart. Am I right? No, heck no. I'd be like, no, thanks. Is there another surgeon in the house? Because this one is not it. It's the same thing in the work that you do. It's the same thing in how you show up as a parent, as a friend. In those moments, we would be looking at you being like, hell nah. This is not the person that I'm going to call. But you're worthy. You are worthy of being confidently you and loving on yourself in all areas. Nobody's going to look at that. Actually, some people might. Let's be real. Some people might look at it as arrogance and cockiness. But the right people, the real people, will see that as confidence and will see that as self-love and see that as prioritization of self. You are worthy of following your dreams. You are worthy of chasing after whatever it is on your heart. And you're worthy of other people's time and sharing what's on your heart, sharing the truth and the things that you're feeling. Leaning into that worthiness was really hard for me. Really hard for me. Because, again, people wanting to work with me or even just coming to socials, right? Or coming to retreats, I would often get caught up in my head like, who would want to be here with me, right? Why? Like, that's crazy, but it's not crazy. Goes back to community too. Have those people that when you say this is so crazy, they can say that, right? It's not crazy. It's you. You're magic. You have it in you. You are worthy of this love. You're worthy of this dream. You're worthy of doing more and chasing after whatever you want. You're worthy of it. And I know that at 33 years old, finally starting to come into that is really interesting. Sometimes we'd think, oh, that's just luck. Or, oh, like, good for her. She's so lucky. All of these things. But the truth is you're worthy of it too. And what you see in other people is exactly what you can have in yourself too. If you see something that you are just like, I wish, if only, lucky for her, right? Because we do say those things, don't we? Shift that perspective from lucky her, I wish that was me, to, wow, if she can have it, so can I. I wonder how she got that. Maybe I'll reach out and ask her some questions, right? Because we don't get to know the behind the scenes that often. Not a lot of people come on the mic and share about the hard things that are going on in their life. So if you're struggling with worthiness, lean on someone, find that community, and ask for help. Ask for someone to be that cheerleader for you. And I know the external factors are not it, right? We need to be doing the internal work too, but they do help. They make a really big difference sometimes. Even someone saying like, nice outfit, or you look good, or wow, you look like you had a great night's sleep. Anything can sometimes really boost that energy and boost that worthiness. And of course, we have to do the work internally. But until we believe it, let's build up that external shell with others around us, with the things that we want to do, with dabbling in our confidence and whatever it is it takes to really step into that. But build that up until you can finally work on that worthiness on the inside too. Because after 33 years, I'm starting to realize how important it is to feel worthy of success, right? Of a business that feels really good for me, of time to myself. Whereas before, I felt shame and guilt around a lot of these things. But you're worthy. You're worthy of more. And that leads me into the next life lesson that I wrote down here was life is hard and it will be hard. It is going to be hard. I still remember a time last year when I was going through a big pivot and a big change, not only on this podcast, but in the outside world, building my business. And I had signed up for a course that was well out of what I ever anticipated I would ever make as a coach. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Now's the time. And Glenn and I, we were just kind of like, well, like, is now the time? Should we wait till you're further along? And I'm truly grateful that I made the choice and I made the leap when I did, because I needed that support, even when I didn't feel worthy, even when I felt, small in this world. And I needed someone who was going to be there to be on my shoulder and just be like, Jess, like, you can do it. You're worthy. Keep going, keep pushing. Raise those prices, do the thing. And this was a big investment for me. And I had a little bit of pushback from some of my old clients who I had only started working with in January. I really only started, no, not even really. I only started this business as a confidence coach in January of 2022. That was when I started bringing clients on. It's like the end of 2021, start of 2022. And I worked really hard last year to not only build my confidence, to build others' confidence, but like to really build a business that felt great for me. And I remember when I raised my prices, and it was really uncomfortable for some of my past clients. Because how could someone in such a short period of time grow in that monetary worth? And for me, I was burning myself out working at the rate that I was working. And I can't even say it without cringing at myself for starting there. But also just like, we have to start somewhere, okay? And if that's where your confidence lies, if charging nothing is where it starts to boost your confidence a bit more, if it's charging $1, $5, whatever it is that you need to get started, I don't care. Like, I don't care what you charge. But what I do care is that you feel worthy of taking that time for that effort, for that price, right? Or whatever it is in any area of your life, making sure that your worthiness is seen and heard and loved in so many different ways. And maybe it's even like volunteering and doing things for free, as long as you feel worthy of doing that work in that time, even if it's for free, whatever it is. But there was a definite click after a lot of time last year that I was just like, okay, I know when I do this course that these coaches that I'm working with are going to look at my pricing and punch me in the face, punch me in the face with their words, punch me in my face. Just knowing the work that I was putting in and the price that I was putting in for not only this course, but for other materials that I was working through last year, for traveling to big events, to everything. And it was really interesting spending that time with them and learning this, especially when one of them was a money mindset coach, right? Because my mindset around my business wasn't where it needed to be. And even now, it's something I'm still battling with. It's still a struggle, but I feel really good about my pricing and the efforts that I'm doing and the work that I'm putting in and the certifications that I'm doing and everything. And so what matters is how I feel about it. And taking that big jump was, again, uncomfortable for me, uncomfortable for some of the people who I was working with, but it was exactly what I needed in order to feel worthy to be doing the work that I was doing, in order to show up as my best self, right? And again, I really don't think that my pricing is crazy now. Actually, I know some people look at it and probably still want to punch me in the face, but I feel good about it. I feel good about it where I am now. And I just signed up for my mind body certification. So I'm going to be doing some somatic work coming up. Side note, because I'm super excited, it was my birthday gift to myself was to do this new certification. And I'm so excited. It starts this week and I am ready to go. But anyways, that's a total side note. Invest in yourself. That's a side note to invest in yourself, but also just to really feel worthy and that it's going to be hard. Right? There's so many different areas that are going to be hard. And whether that's showing up for me, academics is not easy. So I know this course is going to be hard for me in that, but also just showing up for my clients in a way that feels really good and challenges them. It's really uncomfortable to talk about your feelings. Even a one-on-one session is going to be hard, even if you feel safe with me. So whatever it is for you that you have been thinking about, that's on your heart, that you know is going to take up time, that you know is going to be hard, I challenge you to dabble in it. I challenge you to start it because it's not, the hard part is not going away, right? The hard part is often starting. It's about stepping into that truth and stepping into who you are. And that is hard. But you're worthy of the time. You're worthy of making this effort and really building the life of your dreams. So stop putting yourself down, get out of your own way, and surround yourself with people who are going to cheer you on when you're feeling that lack of worthiness for what you want. The last thing I have on my list is that it's okay to change your mind. This was a big one for me last year when I pivoted the podcast a little bit. It really wasn't even that big of a pivot, but I had started this podcast in October of 2021, all about confidence and finding my confidence and bringing you along for the ride and inviting people on who are helping us to learn more about confidence and how they could have confidence in their business and in their life and in mom life and all of these different areas, right? How could we have more confidence? And after working with my mentor several times for this, so my mentor who helped me to start and build this podcast, and then also I worked with her again. And when I did, I mentioned that I didn't want kids. And when I said that, she was like, girl, you got a community. Like, you need to tell people and remind them that it's okay to live different lives. Like, the unconventional life would be a great place for you to focus your podcast on, because not everybody has a spot where they can go. And the unconventional life, not just being the people who don't want kids, but also, the moms who want more, and the woman who's 50 years old and who's going through divorce, and, the teacher who's thinking about leaving her steady job for, starting a business, soap making, whatever. And the unconventional life can be so many different things. The student who decided not to go to university and started, something else, right? Started dog walking and building a business out of dog walking, whatever. It's not even just business building. There's so many of us living this beautiful, unconventional life, driving around in a van, doing anything, right? living in non-traditional marriages, not getting married at all, right? There's so many ways that we can live an unconventional life. And I didn't see it like that. I still felt like such an outsider. And hearing her talk about this beautiful connection that I could have with people about unconventional, living an unconventional life was really powerful. And so I had to pivot my podcast in a way, change the artwork and change who I was speaking to and what I wanted to talk about. And it didn't change a whole lot, but it did change. And when it did, as uncomfortable as it was for me to switch things up, even that early on, only 4 or 5 months into the podcast, it was the best thing I ever did. And making those little changes in my life in different areas, not just on the podcast, but leaving a career that didn't feel aligned to me anymore, leaving freelance work that I was doing last year at this time that just didn't feel right to me anymore. It gave me that gross, icky feeling in my stomach, which was exactly what happened at the same time that when I was building a multi-level marketing business that I just didn't feel in my stomach anymore. It wasn't that anything bad happened. I just had this feeling that it was time to change. Instead of pushing it down, I decided to throw it up and embrace changing my mind. And I know that by me doing that, it's going to help other people do that because I did it because I saw someone who I loved and was mentored by so deeply do it in her life and do it unapologetically, right? Changing their mind and not just being like, oh, I'm going to change things or kind of hiding it, because that's how I often want to do it. They were just unapologetically changing their mind on things and pivoting their business when it didn't feel aligned anymore and doing things differently and doing what was on their heart. And watching that, a woman do that publicly was really helpful for me. So I hope that I can do that for someone else. And I'm going to continue. Things are always going to be ever changing, right? If this was the only thing for the rest of my life, I'd probably get really bored of it too. So just to give you a little recap of the things that I learned in my 32nd year of life as I walk into 33. And again, it's not perfect. I'm figuring them out still as I go. But the first one was find your people, find your community and lean on them, use them. Because I know that the key to having a successful life is to do it with people around you. You're not meant to do this alone. So find your people. The second one is stop putting yourself down. You are a gift, and it's important that you see that in yourself too. You being hard on yourself is not helping anyone. So stop putting yourself down. Number 3 is that you are worthy. You're worthy of loving yourself. You're worthy of having friendships that are really important to you. You're worthy of doing what's on your heart. You are worthy of so much more. And I really want you to know that one. Number 4 is that it's going to be freaking hard. If you struggle with that worthiness, if you struggle with finding community, finding friendships, I'm telling you, it's going to be hard. One of the hardest things for me is opening up and being real with you about some of this stuff. Even one-on-one with a very good friend of mine, it's still really hard to ask for help and to ask for support. So this is just your friendly reminder. It's going to be hard, but you can do it. You can do hard things. You're stronger than you realize. And the last one is that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay if something's on your heart, if you want to leave your job, if you want to change your business, if you want to change your family situation, you can do it. You're allowed to change your mind. Yes, people are going to judge you 100%. We cannot avoid judgment in this world. People are 100% going to judge you. But it doesn't matter what they think. It only matters what you think. And if you're uncomfortable and you're feeling that itchy feeling in your stomach that you're just I need to change something up, it's okay. Follow it. If you're too afraid to dive in, just dabble in it. Dip your toe in. See what a life could look like, a different life than the one you're living now. And really lean into it. And when you're ready, you can dive into that change and you can share it with others. And if you're not sure how to share it with others, you can share it with me. I am here and I am more than happy to be that person for you that you can lean on, that you can share things with, and that you can be your true and authentic self. There are so many big things coming for this year, and I know that. And I really need to lean into these life lessons that I learned last year to step into 33 and what it is that I want. And I am nervous. I'm gonna tell you, I'm nervous. This stuff doesn't come easy to me. And I'm really grateful that you're here and you're coming along on the ride with me and that I can be there for you too, right? 33, I know, is going to be good. I got some big goals and some big dreams on my heart. And it's a matter of me just showing up for them and leaning into the life lessons that happen. And if you see me checking the box and just moving the heck on, remind me, Jess, feel it. How do you feel right now? Be in it. Don't just move on. And the same thing goes for you. If you're a person who checks the box, hits the goal, and then runs in the other direction, one of the big things I want for this year is to feel every moment, to really be in it and to trust my emotions and my feelings. And that one is new. That one's going to be a new one for me. So thank you for being here, for being a part of this journey, for being on this ride with me, and for truly embracing who you are. And I'm so freaking proud of you. And I'm proud of myself as I look back and I think about everything that happened in the last year. I don't even think I realized until I sat down to record this podcast how many crazy growth moments happened in the last year. Wow. What a year. And I can't wait to see what next year brings and for what's coming. So let's freaking go. What's up, sis? I am so glad we could hang out today. If you love this episode, send it to a friend or share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me sprinkle some confidence in the world. And don't forget, you are magic. Let's show the world your shine.